Welcome back to my channel, Learning English Level 3. I'm so excited to have you here today. In today's video, we'll be talking about a really important topic that can change the way you handle your money every time you get paid. I'll be sharing with you some simple but powerful lessons on what to do with your paycheck. And trust me, these lessons will help you not only manage your money better but also improve your English fluency as we go. So stay tuned, and remember, if you like what you see, please hit that subscribe button because your support really means a lot to me. Now let's jump into the lessons. Lesson 1. Pay yourself first. When you get paid, the first thing you should do is pay yourself first. But what exactly does this mean? It's a powerful habit that can change the way you handle your finances and your future. Paying yourself first means saving a portion of your paycheck before you spend money on anything else. It's about prioritizing your future over your immediate desires. This habit is widely used by successful people because it helps ensure that no matter what, you're setting aside money for yourself, for emergencies, and for future goals. Let me break it down and show you why this simple habit is a game changer. Example story 1. Sarah's vacation dream. Sarah had a habit of spending all her paycheck right away. She loved going out to eat with friends, shopping for clothes, and grabbing coffee from her favorite cafe every morning. By the time the month ended, Sarah would have nothing saved, and she'd often feel stressed about her finances. One day, Sarah's friend shared a tip: pay yourself first. She explained that the first thing Sarah should do when she got paid was save a percentage of it, even if it was just a small amount. Sarah was a little skeptical but decided to give it a try. So the next time she got paid, Sarah immediately put 20% of her paycheck into a separate savings account before spending anything on shopping or eating out. At first, it was hard because Sarah still wanted to enjoy her usual lifestyle. But as the months went on, something amazing started to happen. Sarah's savings account slowly grew, and she felt more secure knowing that she was saving for the future. After 6 months, Sarah had saved enough money to go on the vacation she had always dreamed of. This habit of paying herself first not only gave her the funds for a vacation, but also made her feel more in control of her finances. She realized that by paying herself first, she wasn't just saving money. She was building a secure future for herself. Now, Sarah doesn't hesitate to save the first 20% of her paycheck. She's much more mindful of her spending and feels a deep sense of financial security that she never had before. Example story 2. John's road to an emergency fund. John had always found saving money to be difficult. Like many people, he would spend most of his paycheck on monthly bills, eating out, and enjoying his weekends. The thought of saving money always seemed like a distant dream. But one day, John's car broke down, and it needed an expensive repair. He didn't have the money saved up, so he had to borrow money from a friend to cover the cost. That experience left John feeling anxious and uncertain. He realized that if he didn't change his spending habits, he would continue facing financial stress in the future. That's when he remembered the idea of paying himself first. John decided to try it out by setting aside 10% of his paycheck into a savings account every time he got paid. At first, it felt challenging because there was always something else to spend money on, but he stuck to his decision. Over time, John's savings account grew. After a few months, he had built a small emergency fund. Then, when his car broke down again, John was ready. He didn't have to stress about borrowing money or scraping together funds. He had enough in his emergency savings account to pay for the repair without any worries. Paying himself first had completely changed the way he approached his finances. It gave him the confidence to face unexpected situations without feeling overwhelmed. John now sees the value in this habit, and he continues to prioritize saving a portion of his paycheck first. Paying himself first gave him the financial freedom he never thought was possible. Example story 3. Maya's simple rule for saving. Maya had always struggled with saving money. Every time she got paid, it seemed like there was something else that needed to be bought, whether it was clothes, gadgets, or taking her friends out to eat. Saving for the future felt impossible to Maya, especially since she never seemed to have enough money left after spending on the things she wanted. One day, Maya heard about the simple principle of pay yourself first, and decided to give it a try. She made a rule for herself. 10% of every paycheck goes directly into savings. First, this was a small amount, but it was a start. Maya didn't think she could save much, but she was determined to follow through with this new habit. After several months of sticking to her plan, Maya noticed something surprising. Although 10% of her paycheck seemed like a tiny amount, it quickly added up. She realized that paying herself first was a smart and easy way to ensure she was saving for her goals. Maya's savings grew steadily, and she soon had enough money to buy a new laptop for school, something she had been dreaming of for months. Not only did Maya feel proud of herself for reaching her savings goal, but she also felt more confident about her financial future. By paying herself first, she was able to achieve her goals and set herself up for even bigger dreams down the road. Now, Maya sticks to her 10% rule and has even increased her savings over time. Why paying yourself first works. The reason why paying yourself first is so effective is because it's a clear, simple rule that takes the decision-making out of the process. Once you set aside your savings, you have no choice but to spend what's left. This makes it easier to avoid the temptation to spend too much on things you don't need. By saving first, you ensure that your future self is taken care of. Whether you want to build an emergency fund, save for big life goals, or just create peace of mind, this habit will help you get there. It doesn't matter if you're saving a little or a lot. What matters is that you're making a habit of paying yourself first. You'll start to feel more in control of your money and more prepared for anything life throws your way. Lesson 2. Budget your money. Creating a budget is one of the best things you can do when you get paid. It may sound like a lot of work, but trust me, it's one of the most effective ways to ensure that your money is being used wisely. A budget helps you understand where your money is going and allows you to make sure you're spending it on the things that matter most. Plus, it helps you avoid overspending so you can save more and feel more in control of your finances. What is budgeting? Budgeting simply means creating a plan for your money. When you budget, you decide in advance how much money you will spend on different things, like food, entertainment, bills, and savings. It helps you organize your expenses and figure out if you're spending too much on one thing or not saving enough for your goals. The great thing about budgeting is that it's customizable. You can create a budget that fits your own needs and goals. The key is to be honest about your spending and stick to your plan. Example story 1. Daniel's wake-up call. Daniel used to spend his money without thinking. When he got paid, he would buy things he wanted: clothes, electronics, and meals at restaurants. He didn't keep track of how much he was spending, so by the end of the month, he always realized that he didn't have enough money to cover important bills like rent or utilities. This became a huge problem for Daniel. He felt stressed every month and even had to borrow money from friends to get by. One day, his friend told him about the importance of budgeting. Daniel was skeptical at first, but he decided to give it a try. The next time he got paid, Daniel created a simple budget. He wrote down how much money he could afford to spend on food, entertainment, savings, and bills. By clearly seeing how much he had for each category, Daniel was able to control his spending. He made sure he paid his bills first, then used what was left for fun activities and savings. The next month he noticed a big change. He wasn't stressed about bills anymore, and he even had a little left over to save for a future vacation. Daniel realized that budgeting gave him more control over his money. It was the key to living without worrying about running out of funds before the end of the month. Today, Daniel sticks to his budget and feels much more financially secure. Example story 2. Lisa's shopping habit. Lisa loved to shop. Every time she received her paycheck, she would head straight to the mall or shop online for the latest trends. She also enjoyed dining out with friends and trying new restaurants. While this was fun at the time, Lisa often found herself struggling to make ends meet by the end of the month. She had racked up credit card debt and could never seem to save any money. One day, Lisa's friend told her about budgeting and how it could help her get back on track. Lisa thought it sounded like a great idea, so she decided to give it a try. The first thing she did was list out all her monthly expenses. She was shocked to see how much money she was spending on clothes and dining out. Lisa was spending far more than she realized, and it was leaving her with very little for savings or paying off her debt. Lisa decided to set a limit for how much she could spend on shopping and eating out each month. She also added a category for paying off her credit card debt. As soon as she got paid, Lisa made sure to allocate money for bills, savings, and debt repayment before spending any money on anything else. At first, it was tough for Lisa to stick to her budget, but slowly she got better at it. Over time, Lisa paid off her credit card debt and started saving money each month. By the end of the year, she had paid off all her debt, and she even had a small emergency fund in place. Lisa felt less stressed and more in control of her money. Budgeting gave her a sense of freedom that she never had before. Example story 3. Tom's subscription trap. Tom had always struggled to figure out where his money was going. Every time he checked his bank account, it felt like money was disappearing, but he had no idea where it went. He would often check his credit card bill and see multiple subscriptions he had forgotten about: streaming services, magazine subscriptions, and other monthly payments he never used. Tom realized he had been overspending without even noticing. One day, Tom decided he had enough. He wanted to understand his spending and stop the money leaks. He sat down with his bank statements and reviewed every expense. He quickly discovered he was paying for several subscriptions he wasn't using. Some were services he had tried out months ago and forgot to cancel. Others were simply small charges that added up over time. Tom decided to create a detailed budget and cut back on unnecessary expenses. He canceled all the subscriptions he wasn't using and set a realistic amount for the things he actually enjoyed, like going out to dinner with friends and buying new books. He also included savings as a must in his budget. By sticking to his budget, Tom was able to save more money each month. His bank account started growing, and he even found enough funds to start investing in a retirement account. Tom was surprised by how much money he could save by just being more mindful of his spending. Budgeting made him more aware of his financial habits, and now he only spends on the things that truly matter to him. Why budgeting works. Budgeting isn't just about limiting your spending. It's about making intentional decisions with your money. By setting limits for each category, like food, entertainment, and savings, you can make sure you're not overspending and that you're always saving for your future. When you follow a budget, you get a clearer picture of your finances and can make adjustments along the way. One of the greatest benefits of budgeting is that it helps you prioritize your financial goals. Whether you want to save for an emergency fund, pay off debt, or go on vacation, a budget helps you allocate money for these goals while still allowing for fun and enjoyment. Lesson 3. Build an emergency fund. An emergency fund is money you set aside to cover unexpected situations like car repairs, medical bills, or home repairs. It's one of the most important financial habits you can develop, because it helps you avoid the stress of scrambling to find money when life throws a curveball your way. Without an emergency fund, small setbacks can feel like huge problems, but with one, you'll feel more secure and ready for anything. Having an emergency fund means you're prepared for the unexpected. It acts as a safety net that keeps you from going into debt or relying on credit cards when emergencies arise. While you can't predict every emergency, you can control how prepared you are to deal with them. What is an emergency fund? An emergency fund is typically a savings account with a specific amount of money that you use only in emergencies. It's separate from your regular savings, and it's not meant for things like vacations or buying new clothes. The purpose is to have money ready in case something unexpected happens, like a medical emergency, car accident, or job loss. The general rule is to aim for at least 3 to 6 months' worth of living expenses. However, starting with a smaller goal and gradually building up over time is perfectly okay. What's important is to start saving and build the habit of setting money aside for emergencies. Example story 1. Jack's phone crisis. Jack had never thought much about saving for emergencies. He had a comfortable job and things were generally going well in his life. One day, however, his phone broke unexpectedly. It wasn't just a cracked screen. It was completely dead and needed to be replaced immediately. Jack didn't have enough saved up, and he didn't want to wait until payday to buy a new one. Feeling embarrassed, he borrowed money from a friend to cover the cost. After the experience, Jack realized how unprepared he had been for such an unexpected expense. He knew that borrowing money from friends and family wasn't sustainable, and that he needed to start taking his financial security more seriously. Jack decided to start an emergency fund. Every time he got paid, he would set aside a small amount, $50, into a separate savings account. Over time, that small amount grew, and Jack felt much more prepared for the unexpected. When his car needed a minor repair a few months later, Jack didn't have to stress. He simply used the money from his emergency fund to cover the costs. The peace of mind Jack gained from his emergency fund was priceless. Now, whenever he gets paid, Jack puts a portion of his income into savings for emergencies. He no longer has to worry about borrowing money or feeling stressed when life throws him a surprise. Example story 2. Emily's car trouble. Emily had always believed that an emergency fund wasn't necessary. She was living comfortably, had a steady job, and felt like she could handle any situation that came her way. But one day her car broke down. It wasn't a small issue. It was a major repair that would cost hundreds of dollars. Emily had no savings set aside for emergencies, and at that moment, she realized she was in trouble. She didn't have enough money to pay for the repair, so she had to rely on a credit card to cover the cost. The experience left Emily feeling stressed and anxious. She hated the idea of relying on credit cards for unexpected expenses, especially because they came with high interest rates. After that incident, Emily made a promise to herself. She would start saving for emergencies. She started by saving just $100 each month, even though it seemed small. Slowly but surely, Emily built up her emergency fund. A year later, Emily's car broke down again. But this time she was prepared. The money was already in her emergency fund, and she didn't have to stress about how she would pay for it. Emily felt so much more secure knowing that she had money set aside for such situations. She now saves a small portion of every paycheck for emergencies and no longer worries about unexpected expenses. Example story 3. Alex's broken fridge. Alex's fridge broke down suddenly last year, and he had to replace it immediately. Like many people, Alex didn't have an emergency fund at that time. He didn't want to go without a fridge, so he had to put the expense on his credit card. While he was able to buy a new one, he felt a bit overwhelmed by the extra debt. After the experience, Alex realized how important it was to have an emergency fund in place. A broken fridge wasn't something he could have predicted, but having money saved would have made the situation much less stressful. So, Alex started saving a little bit of his paycheck every month. At first it was only $50, but as he got used to saving, he was able to increase the amount. Months later, when his washing machine broke down unexpectedly, Alex was ready. He didn't have to borrow money or use credit cards to pay for the repair. Instead, he used his emergency fund to cover the cost. Having that cushion in place gave him peace of mind and helped him avoid unnecessary stress. Now, Alex is committed to building his emergency fund, and he feels more confident about handling life's unexpected surprises. Why an emergency fund is so important. Life is full of surprises, and not all of them are good. Whether it's an unexpected medical bill, car repair, or job loss, emergencies happen when we least expect them. Having an emergency fund gives you the financial security to face these challenges without going into debt or stressing about money. An emergency fund also gives you a sense of control. When you have money set aside for the unexpected, you don't have to worry about how you'll pay for things when they go wrong. Instead of panicking, you can handle the situation calmly and move on with your life. How to start building your emergency fund. Start small. If saving 3 to 6 months of living expenses seems too daunting, start small. Begin by setting aside a small amount from each paycheck, whether it's $25, $50, or $100. The important thing is to start. Automate savings. To make saving easier, set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your emergency fund savings account. This way you don't have to think about it, and you'll consistently build your fund over time. Cut back on unnecessary spending. Look at your expenses and identify areas where you can cut back. For example, can you reduce your eating out or subscription services? The money you save can go directly into your emergency fund. Keep it separate. Keep your emergency fund in a separate account so you're not tempted to use it for anything other than emergencies. Make it difficult to access so you only use it for true emergencies. Track your progress. Watch your emergency fund grow over time. Tracking your progress will motivate you to continue saving and keep you focused on your goal. Lesson 4. Set financial goals. Setting financial goals is one of the most powerful ways to take control of your money and make progress toward your dreams. When you have a clear financial goal, you have a destination to work toward. This helps keep you motivated, focused, and more likely to stick to your savings and spending plans. Gives your money a purpose. Financial goals could be short-term, like saving for vacation, or long-term, like buying a home or preparing for retirement. No matter what your goals are, the key is to set them clearly and break them down into smaller, manageable steps. Let's dive into why setting financial goals is so important and how it can change your life. What are financial goals? Financial goals are simply the targets you set for your money. These can include saving a specific amount of money by a certain date, paying off debt like credit cards or student loans, investing for future needs like retirement, buying something big like a house or car. Setting goals helps you stay focused. Knowing exactly what you're working toward gives you a sense of purpose. Track your progress. Seeing how far you've come can be really motivating. Manage your money better. When you know you need to save for a specific goal, you'll make smarter choices about how to spend. Example story 1. Ben's car goal. Ben had always wanted to buy his own car. He loved the idea of having a reliable vehicle, but no matter how hard he worked, he never seemed to save enough money. Every paycheck he would spend money on things like eating out, entertainment, and gadgets, but the car was always out of reach. One day, Ben realized he needed a better plan. So he set a clear financial goal. Save $1,000 in 1 year for a car down payment. At first, this seemed like a huge task, but Ben was determined. He knew he needed to save $1,000 by the end of the year, so he broke it down. That meant saving about $85 per month. Every time Ben got paid, he would set aside that $85 right away into a separate savings account before he spent any money on other things. Some months it was difficult to stick to the plan, especially when new gadgets or events came up. But Ben stayed focused. If he had to cut back on eating out or cancel plans, he did it without hesitation because he knew the reward would be worth it. By the end of the year, Ben had saved enough for his down payment. He was able to buy a used car that was perfect for him. When he drove it off the lot, Ben felt an overwhelming sense of pride. Not only had he achieved his goal, but he had also learned the power of setting clear financial goals and staying disciplined. Ben's success encouraged him to keep setting new financial goals, and he knew that with determination, he could achieve anything. Example story 2. Olivia's dream vacation. Olivia always dreamed of traveling to Europe, especially visiting cities like Paris and Rome. But every time she thought about saving for it, it seemed like an impossible task. Her paycheck barely covered the basics, and anything left over was spent on small luxuries or daily expenses. The vacation always felt out of reach. One day, Olivia decided to take action. She set a clear goal: save $200 per month for the next year to cover her trip to Europe. This was a realistic goal for her, but she had to make some changes. She decided to cut back on her eating out and cancel a few of her streaming subscriptions. Every month, she deposited $200 into a separate savings account dedicated to her trip. First, saving $200 each month was tough. Olivia had to get creative with how she spent her money. She started cooking more at home, finding cheaper alternatives for entertainment, and avoiding impulse buys. But each time she put money in her travel fund, Olivia felt more excited about her future trip. It was a small sacrifice now for a huge reward later. By the time the year was up, Olivia had saved $2,400. That was enough to cover her flight, accommodation, and meals during her dream vacation. When Olivia stepped foot in Europe for the first time, she felt an incredible sense of accomplishment. She had made her dream come true, and it all started with setting a clear financial goal and staying disciplined. Example story 3. Lucas's debt-free journey. Lucas had always struggled with credit card debt. He had a few small balances from years of spending on things he didn't need, and the interest charges made it hard to get ahead. Every month, he felt like he was barely making a dent in his debt, and it made him feel overwhelmed. One day, Lucas decided enough was enough. He set a goal to pay off his credit card debt in 6 months. He figured out that his total debt was around $2,500, and he knew that if he made the right plan, he could be debt-free by the end of the year. His goal was to pay at least $400 each month toward his debt. Lucas got serious about his spending. He started budgeting more carefully, cutting back on things like eating out, buying new clothes, and weekend trips. Instead, he focused all his extra money on paying down his debt. Each time he got paid, Lucas made sure the bulk of his paycheck went toward his credit card balances. He even picked up some extra shifts at work to help him pay off his debt faster. By the end of 6 months, Lucas had paid off all his credit card debt. He felt an overwhelming sense of relief and pride. Not only did he achieve his goal, but he also learned how important it is to stay focused and stick to a plan. Lucas now has a new financial goal: to start building his savings, so he never has to go back to using credit cards in an emergency. Why setting financial goals works. Setting financial goals is a powerful way to stay motivated and focused. It gives you something concrete to work toward, which helps you prioritize your spending and make smarter decisions with your money. When you can break down big goals into smaller, manageable steps, you're much more likely to achieve them. Here's why it works. Clear direction. Knowing exactly what you want to achieve with your money helps you stay on track. Track your progress. As you save, pay down debt, or hit milestones, you can see your progress, which motivates you to keep going. Sense of achievement. Reaching your financial goal is a huge accomplishment. It builds your confidence and encourages you to set even bigger goals. How to set effective financial goals. Be specific. Instead of just saying, "I want to save money," make your goal specific, like, "I want to save $2,000 for a vacation in 1 year." Set a time frame. Give yourself a deadline. Without a clear time frame, you may procrastinate. For example, "I want to pay off my credit card by December," gives you a clear target. Break it down. Break your larger goal into smaller, manageable steps. If your goal is to save $1,000 in 6 months, that's $167 per month. Much more manageable than just saying, "I need $1,000. Track your progress. Use a spreadsheet or an app to track your savings and spending. Seeing how far you've come can motivate you to stay on track. Stay flexible. Life happens. If you hit a bump in the road, adjust your goal and keep going. Don't let small setbacks stop you from achieving your big dreams. Lesson 5. Avoid lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation, also known as lifestyle creep, happens when your spending increases as your income increases. It's easy to fall into this trap. When you get a raise, a bonus, or a higher-paying job, you may feel like you deserve to treat yourself to nicer things, like a bigger house, a new car, or more expensive clothes. However, letting your lifestyle inflate in response to a higher paycheck can prevent you from building long-term wealth and achieving your financial goals. The trick to avoiding lifestyle inflation is to resist the urge to immediately upgrade your lifestyle every time your income increases. Instead, you can use the extra money to build your savings, pay off debt, or invest in your future. When you control your spending and maintain the same lifestyle, the extra money you earn can help you achieve financial independence much faster. What is lifestyle inflation? Lifestyle inflation is the tendency to increase your spending as your income grows. It's the feeling that because you now earn more, you should spend more on things that may not add significant value to your life. Over time, this can lead to a situation where you're not saving any more money, and your financial situation doesn't improve as you would expect, despite earning a higher income. Lifestyle inflation often looks like upgrading to a more expensive car when your old one is still working fine, moving into a larger home that you can technically afford, but it comes with higher expenses, spending more on dining out, shopping, and entertainment just because you can. While it's natural to want to enjoy the benefits of a higher income, The key is to avoid letting it control your financial decisions. Instead of spending all your extra earnings, think about how you can use the money to build wealth and secure your financial future. Example story 1. Rachel's raise and her old car. Rachel had been working hard for years, and when she received a significant raise at her job, she was thrilled. The first thought that crossed her mind was, "Now I can finally buy that new car I've always wanted." She had been driving the same car for over 5 years, and while it still worked fine, it was starting to show signs of wear. However, Rachel had a conversation with a close friend who gave her some wise advice. Don't let lifestyle inflation control you. Her friend reminded her that just because she had more money coming in didn't mean she needed to spend it all. Instead, she could keep her car and use the extra income to build her wealth. Rachel took her friend's advice to heart. She decided to continue driving her old car and put the extra money from her raise into a savings account. She also set up an automatic transfer to a retirement account, where she invested the extra funds. Over the next few months, Rachel watched her savings grow, and she felt a sense of financial security that she hadn't experienced before. By avoiding lifestyle inflation and resisting the temptation to buy a new car, Rachel was able to build a solid financial foundation. Now she's focused on growing her wealth and is on track to achieve her long-term financial goals. Her decision to save rather than spend allowed her to stay ahead financially, rather than letting her paycheck dictate her spending habits. Example story 2. James' higher salary and paying off debt. James had always struggled with student loan debt. When he graduated from college, he quickly found a job with a good salary, but the weight of his student loans still hung over him. As time went on, James received a series of raises at work, and his salary grew steadily. It was exciting to see his income increase, but James knew he couldn't let that money go to waste. Instead of buying expensive gadgets, going on lavish vacations, or upgrading his lifestyle, James made a conscious decision to use the extra money to pay down his student loans. He created a plan to put as much of his raise as possible toward his debt. Every time he got a raise, he avoided the temptation to spend more on things he didn't need. Instead, he increased the amount he was putting toward his loan payments. Over the course of a couple of years, James was able to pay off his student loans completely. The relief of being debt-free was incredible, and he now had more money available to save and invest. By choosing to use his higher income wisely and avoid lifestyle inflation, James had more financial freedom and a brighter future ahead. James is proud of the decision he made. He knows that by avoiding the trap of lifestyle inflation, he took control of his finances and set himself up for a future with less debt and more opportunities. Example story 3. Samantha's income growth and increased savings. Samantha had been working at her job for several years and had always been pretty disciplined with her finances. But when she received a promotion with a higher salary, she started feeling the pressure to upgrade her lifestyle. It was tempting to spend the extra money on new clothes, dining out at nicer restaurants, and taking weekend trips to exotic locations. However, Samantha remembered the advice she'd heard about avoiding lifestyle inflation, and she decided to stay focused on her financial goals. Instead of spending the extra money, Samantha chose to increase her savings. She set up a direct deposit to automatically transfer the extra income into her emergency fund and retirement accounts. While it wasn't as exciting as buying new clothes or going on vacation, Samantha knew that the long-term benefits of saving and investing would outweigh the temporary pleasures of spending. Over the next year, Samantha's savings grew faster than she ever expected. Her emergency fund was fully funded, and she had made significant progress in building her retirement savings. While her friends were spending their extra money on new outfits and luxury items, Samantha was securing her future. Now she feels much more financially secure and is proud of the decisions she made. Samantha's discipline has paid off, and she's well on her way to achieving her long-term financial goals. Why avoiding lifestyle inflation is key to building wealth. Lifestyle inflation can feel like a natural response to earning more money, but it can actually hold you back from building wealth. The more you spend as you earn more, the less money you have available for savings, investments, or paying down debt. Over time, this can keep you from reaching financial independence. Here's why avoiding lifestyle inflation is so important. Helps you save more. By resisting the urge to upgrade your lifestyle every time you get a raise, you can put more money towards savings and investments. Builds wealth. The more you save and invest, the more your wealth grows over time. Avoiding lifestyle inflation allows you to use your income to build a strong financial future. Reduces financial stress. When you don't feel the need to spend more just because you're earning more, you can live within your means and reduce financial stress. Keeps you focused on long-term goals. Avoiding lifestyle inflation helps you stay focused on achieving long-term goals like buying a home, retiring comfortably, or starting a business. How to avoid lifestyle inflation. Create a budget. By sticking to a budget, you can ensure that you don't increase your spending when you get a raise. Decide ahead of time how much of your income will go toward necessities, savings, and fun activities. Automate savings. Set up automatic transfers to your savings and investment accounts as soon as you get paid. This ensures that the extra money doesn't get spent on things you don't need. Set long-term goals. Having clear financial goals like saving for a home, building an emergency fund, or retiring early can help you stay motivated to save and avoid unnecessary spending. Track your progress. Monitor your savings and investments regularly. Seeing how much you've grown can remind you of the benefits of avoiding lifestyle inflation. Delay big purchases. If you want to make a big purchase, wait a few months before making it. This will give you time to evaluate if it's really necessary and if it aligns with your financial goals. Lesson 6. Pay off debt. Debt can be a huge burden. When you get paid, consider using a portion of your paycheck to pay off any debts you have. Example story 1. Chris had credit card debt for years. Every time he got paid, he would put a little extra towards paying it off. After a few years, he was finally debt-free. Chris now enjoys life without worrying about his debt. Example story 2. Kim had a student loan that seemed impossible to pay off. But every time she got paid, she focused on paying it down. Slowly but surely, she became debt-free. Kim now has more freedom to use her money the way she wants. Example story 3. Jake used to spend all his money and ignore his debts. But when he started paying off his debt with each paycheck, he felt a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. Now Jake is debt-free and can enjoy his money more. Lesson 7. Invest in yourself. Investing in yourself means spending time and money on things that make you smarter and better at what you do. Example story 1. Nina wanted to improve her job skills, so she used part of her paycheck to take an online course. A year later, Nina got a promotion at work because she had learned new skills. Investing in herself paid off big time. Example story 2. Carlos used to spend all his money on entertainment, but he realized that learning a new language could open up new job opportunities for him. Carlos invested in language classes, and today he works in an international company. Example story 3. Leah loved drawing, so she used part of her paycheck to buy art supplies and take painting classes. A few years later, Leah became a professional artist, turning her passion into a career. Investing in her skills changed her life. Conclusion. And there you have it. 8 lessons you can start using every time you get paid. Remember, paying yourself first, budgeting, saving, and investing in yourself will all help you lead a financially secure and stress-free life. I hope this video helped you learn something new and inspired you to take action. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more tips on how to improve your English fluency and your life. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.